Shabbat Shalom, everybody. I am Jolie Brislin, and I am on the CNT Board of Directors, and I get the honor of doing announcements tonight. So, why are we all, many of us here? It's Kinley McLaughlin's bat mitzvah tomorrow. And on September 2nd, we're going to be able to have her mitzvah project, which will be hosting Kinley's dance party featuring our very own DJ Dan Dog. On Sunday, September 10th from 12:30 to 2 p.m., all the religious school students are invited to attend. A minimum of $5 will be asked to donate for the entry fee, and all donations are going to go towards grocery store gift cards for Rabbi Axelrod and Cantor Hutchings to give out to those in need. On Monday, September 4th, CNT office will be closed in observance of Labor Day, and our office and preschool will also be closed. Next Friday, we hope that everyone will help CNT start to ring in high holidays with my favorite service of the year, Serenity Shabbat, and the changing of the Torah mantles at 7 p.m. On Sunday, September 10th, Pamela Anderson will be hosting her free Starbucks Cafe series about the 5 famous families of the Torah at 9:30 in CNT's multi-purpose room. Also on Sunday, September 10th, very busy day here. Apples and Honey, Bags and Schmoozing with Sisterhood takes place at 9:30 in the Gary and Lynn Cantor Hall. If you want to help Sisterhood assemble these bags of apples and honey to be distributed Erev Rosh Hashanah, RSVP on our website or calendar by Wednesday, September 6th. CNT's next senior program is called Red, White, and Blue and You. On Monday, September 11th at 12 p.m., the group will honor our veterans, and Brad Sternhill will entertain. Please RSVP on our website. CNT is partnering with Jewish Nevada and other local congregations to present a very fun challah braiding workshop with the Challah Prince on Wednesday, September 13th at the Bodega Exchange. You can also RSVP on the website. Local craft vendors are needed for Sisterhood's Hanukkah and Holiday Bazaar on Sunday, November 5th. Please email Sisterhood if you would like to participate. Last one. CNT Sisterhood Mark L. Fine and Family Gift Shop is open Fridays 45 minutes before service or by appointment. At the gift shop, you can buy Rabbi Axelrod's new book, Love in the Time of Corona, and all proceeds go to Congregation Near to Meet. When you purchase it, go and see him. He would love to sign it and write a very meaningful note in it. So with that, Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Jolie.
Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Let me hear you. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov Umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. How good it is,
How good it is.
how sweet it is,
How sweet it is
to be together on this day. How good it is,
How good it is.
how sweet it is,
How sweet it is
to be together on this day. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. What's better than one cantor?
Two cantors. So, since you said that, why don't you introduce Lizzie, who needs no introduction?
I know, pretty much. So this is Cantor Lizzie Weiss. She is not on her home pulpit tonight in Beverly Hills, California, but instead here with us because Kinley, our bat mitzvah this weekend, refers to her so lovingly as Canty 2. I am Canty 1. So Cantor Auntie. So she's here to celebrate Kinley this weekend and have a fun weekend with all of us. And I thought, well, you can't be here and not sing on the bima. So she's going to pop in for a few
does that make
things.
me rab you one?
You're what? I don't understand.
If you're Canty...
Runkle? You could be Runkle.
If you're Canty one, I could be Grunkle?
Runkle.
Runkle?
Runkle 1. Okay.
All right, well, she'll have to come up with something. We'll stick with Rabbi. Well, we got a few things coming up. You heard them in the announcements. Let's see how well you listened. What's going on next Friday night? Serenity Shabbat. And what about next Saturday night? What? What's going to happen? Not tomorrow, but a week from tomorrow.
It's kind of scary that you don't know because it's the beginning of the high holidays with it's a special thing called Slichot.
Slichot is the Saturday before Rosh Hashanah, and we always have something special. The weather permitting, please God, we will have a drum circle, always really, really special, and some meditative reflections to boot. And we have the changing of the mantles next Friday night. So if you've never seen that, it is really something that gets you in the mood for the high holidays. And we hope that you will come, participate, and bring in the light, if you will, of not only Shabbat, but the year to come. So with that, let's get started.
I want to give a special shout out to our live stream, which is always populated every Friday night. But tonight, because of the weather, we have an extra special few or a few dozen that are not here, but there instead. So
All right.
welcome.
Good job, everyone.
So we bring in the light of Shabbat, and we call forward McLaughlin family. You know who you are, the matriarchs of the family, to come forward to light our Shabbat candles. Yeah, Kaylin too. Yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, ya lai lai, yai lai lai. Bring in the light, bring in the light, bring in the light of Shabbat. We light the lights of Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom. May you have a peaceful day. Shabbat Shalom. May you have a restful day. Bring in the light, bring in the light, bring in the light of Shabbat. We light the lights of Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav etzivanu. Lehadlik ner, lehadlik ner, lehadlik ner shel Shabbat, lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
We continue in our prayer books on page 124. We enter this sanctuary to welcome Shabbat. Within these walls, we sit surrounded by numberless generations. Our ancestors built the synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout our long history and our endless wanderings, it has endured. The beacon of truth, love, and justice for all humanity. Its presence guided our ancestors to lives of righteousness, holding up to them a vision of their truest selves. Now we, in our turn, come into this sanctuary to affirm the sacredness of our lives. May we enter this place in peace. May holiness wrap around us as we cross its threshold. Weariness doubt the flaws within our human hearts, the harshness of the weak, let these drop away at the door. In the brightness of Shabbat, let peace settle upon us as we lift our hearts in prayer.
We welcome the Shabbat bride on page 138, 139, verses 1, 2, and 9. Lecha dodi likrot kala penei Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi likrot kala penei Shabbat nekabela shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad ishmianu el hamiyochad Adonai echad u'shmo echad l'shem u'tiferet v'litila lecha dodi likrot kala penei Shabbat nekabela likrot Shabbat lechu v'nelcha ki hi mekor ha'beracha merosh mikedem nesucha sof ma'aseh v'machshava techila lecha dodi likrot kala penei Shabbat nekabela. We rise to greet the Shabbat bride. Boi v'shalom ateret bala gam besimcha uvetzola
We continue on 146 with the Baruch Hu. I'm going to give you something to read in English. Is that okay?
Praise to you, Adonai our God, for whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars, creator of the tide of time and light. As you guide the current of the day into night, as heaven spans into infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows.
Baruch atah Adonai, Amari Baravim.
You don't need to pass.
Okay. As you taught Torah to whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beacons, yet I struggle with its truth. You met Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery.
Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev
Oh.
Amo Yisrael.
Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shekevah Malechuto Le'olam Va'ed. Hear, Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever. You please be seated. Okay. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol v'chol v'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha u'hayu havarim ha'eled asher Elohim mitzablecha hayom alefanecha v'shindata v'teha v'dibarta bam v'shinteha v'teha u'flefteha nodera u'sharpeo u'kumeha v'hartam leo aladeha v'hayu totefo beineneha uftaftam al mizuzo v'teha uvirim sharecha leman tiskeru va'atziatem eka mitzvotai v'yatem kedoshim Elohem ani Adonai Elohem Asher setiatem me'eretz mitzrayim liot lahem Elohim ani Adonai Elohem Adonai Elohem Amen. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is internally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands marching together.
So as we get close to our High Holy Days, we have certain melodies that start to creep their way into our liturgy, and it's common to have our Mikamocha sung to the Nusach of the High Holy Days. However, I decided that we should use a melody that we use on Erev Rosh Hashanah, because other than Erev Rosh Hashanah, it is not sung the rest of the year, and it is such a beautiful melody. So this is not a traditional High Holy Day melody, but it is one for our High Holy Days.
Mi chamocha b'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedor b'kodesh.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up, waiting to do your will.
Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim.
So as we prepare for Vishamru on page 160, we're going to invite up Sister Kaylin and also most of the front row from our religious school. That's all you guys.
What about the back?
Okay, she wants everybody from religious school back here. It's her bat mitzvah, you have to come up.
Yeah, guys, come on. Wait, can I go up? Can I go out? Okay. I'm going in the front.
All right, here's how Alex, we're
Wait.
getting feedback over there.
No, I don't
All
know.
right, so this is how the dance goes, so that you're aware. Let's make sure there's room for everybody. All right, Kinley, can you demonstrate the dance, please?
Wait, is it this one?
Fish.
Oh, Reuven Israel et Shabbat. Lasot et Shabbat et Torah. Come on. Love.
Okay, then we do that again, and then we do Baini, and then we do one of these. Just follow along, you do it too. Okay. You better hurry up and get up here.
Sham Reuven Israel et Shabbat. Lasot et Shabbat et Torah. Beritolam. Vesham Reuven Israel et Shabbat. Lasot et Shabbat et Torah. Beni, Uven, Israel, Oti, Vesham Reuven Israel et Shabbat. Lasot et Shabbat et Torah. Love. Kisheshet, Lamim, Adalayim, Vesham Reuven Israel et Shabbat. Lasot et Shabbat et Torah. To love. Ubayom, Hashvi, Shabbat, Israel, et Shabbat, Lasot et Shabbat, et Torah, Beritolam.
Last time for you guys. Vesham Reuven Israel et Shabbat.
Lasot et Shabbat, et Torah, Beritolam.
All right, thank you. I'll switch you 1,000,000 children for one cantor. We rise on page 164 for our Amidah prayers.
Oh, okay. Okay. Adonai, Satai, Tivta, Uviagi, Tehi. Adonai is for the time tifta ufiagi tehilatecha ufiagi tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Eloheinu Tevimotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rahel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagivor V'Hanorah El Elyon, Gomel Azadim Tovim, Bekonei Hakov, V'Zoher Hazei Avot B'Ilahot, Umevi Geulah, Nivnei V'neihem, Lemon Shemo Be'ava, Nela, Ozer, Umashia, Umagim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Abraham Ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor B'Lamanai Mehayeh Hakol Atara Leloshia Morid Hatah Mekohel Hayim Behetzev Mehayeh Hakol Berachmim Ramim Samek Noflim Ve'oter Olim Umatir Asurim Umahayeh Emunatov Liv Shenei Afar Mihovacha Ba'givurot Umiyudom Elah Melech Mitmir Tumechayeh Umatir Avishua V'na'aman Otam Hayochakol Baruch atah Adonai Mechayeh Hakol.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. We continue in silent prayer through page 180, 181. When you have completed your private prayers, please be seated.
goali. Oh, may the words of my mouth, the meditations of my heart be acceptable before you, O God, my rock and my redeemer. Oh, say shalom bimromav. Huya say shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'imeru, ve'imeru. Amen.
As we turn our hearts in prayer to those who are in the bed of illness, we look to our congregation on our live stream. If there are people you are thinking of tonight that you would like to have us say their names, please submit their names in the chat at this time.
So we gather our thoughts and prayers for our loved ones, our friends who are in need of our prayers. We face matters of the heart, of the body, of the mind, addiction too. We think of those who are caregivers who give of themselves tirelessly, that those who are in need are given help in the time that they're most vulnerable. So we think of all of them. As my eyes meet yours, please stand and say their names. But first I say these names that have been submitted to our office. Sarah Dora Bot Miriam, Dr. Lisa Cohen, Lang Ming, Didi Moya, Marvik Levinsky, my sister Audrey Smith, my sister Dina Shee, John Cly, Susie Cerno, Phyllis Simon, Harold Roberts, Linda Mitchum, Lori Fletcher, Kim Botwin, and Donna Zale. So take this time to stand and say the names of your loved ones for a prayer of healing.
Kim Rodriguez, Ray Singer, Hetty Gordon, Vincent Rodriguez. Page 371.
We rise for Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor Abracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishe Beirach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. So this sermon is inspired by a conversation that I had with her cantor. Now that she is in, rabbinical school, she sees the whole world as a sermon. Could be a movie, could be a pickle, could be a match, a flame, but the whole world is now a sermon. It's kind of like, doctors, they go to medical school and, you get a cough or a sniffle and all of a sudden they want to, oh my God, you got cancer, oh my God, and they find a diagnosis that matches those sniffles. So it's an occupational hazard. And I told her, I'm running on empty here. I've been working so hard on the high holidays. I need a sermon for for Shabbat. And she goes, you know what? I got a good idea. And I wasn't sure whether it would be a good idea, but, well, you'll be the judge by the end of this sermon. If it was a good idea, well, you'll give us both credit. So she gave me a sermon seed, and here's how it goes. Look, up in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's not a sermon about Superman. That's not the sermon seed, although I probably could have gone with that for a sermon because all of you know I like science fiction, and Superman happened to be Jewish, and his Jewish name was, oh my God, Kal-El, that's right. Do I need to educate this synagogue after all these decades? But I digress. That was not the sermon seed that she gave me. No, that was not it. But it did go like, look, up in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's the blue moon. How many of you knew that we had a blue moon this week? All right. So I learned something about a blue moon in kind of writing this sermon. I learned that a blue moon is not really blue. And it's not purple, and it's not red, and it looks like a regular moon. What makes it the blue moon is that it is something special. Every month, usually we have one new moon, but every so often, when it's a blue moon, we have two. So we had an extra full moon this year. And therefore, we even have a phrase that you might be familiar with, which says, once in a blue moon. So now you've learned something from this sermon. That's right. Now I can just sit down, right? You've learned something. Go, I didn't know that. I learned some trivia from the rabbi. Well, using my rabbinic logic, I view this as an extra opportunity to do what we are supposed to do this time of year. In waiting for the new moon, we are awaiting Rosh Hashanah, because Rosh Hashanah is, again, a new moon. And that puts us solidly in the month of Elul. I guess if I was a rabbi from Chelm, I would simply say that a couple nights ago when the moon was full, that was Rosh Hashanah because it was the second moon. But as logical as that may sound, it simply isn't the case. It was simply and somewhat profoundly a special extra oomph to get us in the mood of Elul. That during this time when daily we hear the sound of the shofar and we make that countdown to the new year, this year, we got an extra tap on the shoulder that says, hey, take this time seriously. For extra moons don't come around very often. In fact, they only come about once in a blue moon. So, what would be a good focus for Elul? There is a famous story that I've told a time or two because it really speaks to me. It's about a man who didn't have the best memory. That might be the part that speaks to me, but let's go on. So before he goes to bed, he has to make a list of what he's going to wear and where he put everything for the next day. If he doesn't do that, he's just a wreck in the morning. So goes to sleep, he wakes up, he looks at his piece of paper, and it says, okay, my glasses are by the side of the bed. Check. All right, where's my shirt, my underwear, my pants, my tie, my jacket? Check, 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 check. He found everything. And he was so happy, he began to laugh in joy, and then he began to cry in sorrow. He said, dear God, I found everything that I need for today, all that I own that is pertinent for me to leave this house. But what I haven't found is who I am. How can I leave the house without knowing who I am? As we get a little bit older, well, let's start when we're toddlers. We just want to grow up. Grow up. We're so anxious. And the adults go, kid, just stay young as long as you can. You don't want to grow up. You don't want the responsibilities of adulthood. But yet, that's built into us to grow up. And then we get old enough that someone will say, what do you want to be when you grow up? You want to be a policeman, a fireman, a rabbi, a cantor, a plumber, an electrician. And they ask you that, and then they give a little smile and a chuckle. And then a few years later, they ask you the same question. And finally, you go to college and you have the answer. I'm going to be undeclared. Pretty much, isn't it? Because you start college after all these years with people saying, what do you want to be? And you give these answers of things that you know nothing about. And finally, you reach what in our society is a stage towards adulthood, besides the bat mitzvah, but in secular society, going off to college or maybe into trade school. And we try to find what it is that we want to do with our lives. But really, it's what we want to do, but it's not necessarily about who we are. The reality is, in society, we often define who we are by what we do. And so when we retire, it's like a crisis. If I can't do what I've always done, then who am I? But really, it's not a crisis of retirement. It's a crisis, if I would say, of life itself. We can be defined by what we do, and we can do it very well, and we can do it day in and day out, and that fills the days and it fills the time. But I would suggest perhaps it avoids the question. Who am I deep down? What kind of person am I deep down? It's more a question about character than it is about a job. What is it that makes me who I am? If three rabbis were put in a row, what would distinguish them? If three plumbers or three electricians, they can all be a rabbi or a plumber or a cantor or a teacher. But each human being is unique. And that uniqueness is our neshama, our soul, and it's who we are. And whether we are aware of it or not, it exists, and it exists within each one of us, that neshama, that soul. And I would say that the task of Elul and that shofar that is blown every morning to wake us up isn't to find that piece of paper that lets us identify our possessions. It's to say, I want you to be prepared to face life as a human being, so that you live your life in such a way that when you're on your deathbed, you don't say, oh, I wish I had spent more time at work or counting my stocks or my money. You're going to be able to rest assured that you were that human being that you were meant to, that you were the hero of your own story. There's a story that is also very famous about a Rabbi Zusia. And Rabbi Zusia of Hanipol was near death. And he was afraid of the angel of death coming to take him. And his students gathered around and said, Reb Zusia, why are you so afraid? You have been the most awesome Rebbe, the most awesome teacher. We know that you will make it to the Most High. And Reb Zusia taught them one last lesson. And he said, I'm not going to be afraid that I wasn't the best Rebbe. I'm going to be afraid that I was not the best Zusia. And in that statement, he challenged his students not to be like him, or to be like Moses or Abraham or any of these great historic people that we so admire. He encouraged them to look deep inside their soul and to find themselves. That is what Elul is about. It's about finding that blue moon, that special measure of oomph that exists inside each one of us, that is special and unique. And when we can do that, perhaps once in a blue moon won't be something that occurs infrequently. It will be a daily exercise, an introspection, reflection that causes our soul to rise higher and higher. Because look, up in the sky, it's not a bird or a plane. It is my neshama that flies higher and higher towards God Almighty. Shabbat Shalom.
We turn to page 586 as we begin to conclude our service. Before we rise, some thoughts about what it means, Aleinu. It's up to us to call ourselves to task, to sing what's good and true, to bring about redemption. It's what we were free to do. For what's the point of being here if we're not moved to change our ways? Aleinu l'shabeach. It's time to live our praise. We are carrying the stories of the ones who came before. What stories will be told of us when we are here no more? We commit ourselves to action. It brings meaning to our days. Aleinu l'shabeach. It's time to live our praise. Aleinu l'shabeach. It's time to live our praise. Please rise. Va'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Again, we turn to our live stream. If there is someone you are thinking of tonight for Kaddish prayers, whether you are in recent mourning or you are observing Shloshim or in the first Shana, in the first year, or it is the yahrzeit of someone, the anniversary of someone's death, please submit those names in the chat at this time. We turn to page 598.
So we think of those who have died in recent days: Walter Bass, Faye Cohen, Art Marshall, James Kelly Schaefer, Bob Shafran, Faye Sugarman, Irma Kogan, Stephen Simon, Sherry Adair, Dick Hyman, and Doris Munich. We recall the yahrzeit of Jerome Borochoff, Sammy Braun, Jack Bolofsky, Jenny Kavadlo, Ruth Enton, Carl Fishbein, Armin Friedman, Abraham Gellin, Arnold Ginsberg, Frederick Goldstein, Irving Goldstein, Adolf Greif, Fanny Greif, Leah Fromson-Handler, Sam Kabakov, William Sonny Klein, Stanley Klein, Irene McConey, David Price, Israel Resnick, Sylvia Roeder, Chaim Roth, Sylvia Rubin, Irving Rubenstein, David Schweitzer, Mary Annie Tobiansky, Mary Toth, Richard Van Dusen, Mark Vogel, Celia Watman. If you'd like to say the name of someone who is not mentioned for Kaddish or Yortzeit, please stand and say their names.
Gemma Wolf, Jesse Savitz, Faye Sugarman.
As we rise to say Kaddish, we join together 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dachal beit Yisrael, b'agalav izman kari v'yimru amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam omei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekusha b'richu, leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechemata, damiram b'yalma v'yimru amen. Yehi shlom rabba min shemai v'chayim, aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. O say shalom b'mramav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, Amen. You may be seated.
We want to thank our rabbi,
And our cantor.
our guest cantor, Lizzie Weiss. We have Adela Costa, our shamus, and Barbara Siegel, our accompanist tonight, and Alex Hill for setting up the sound, Eddie Simon and Lee Posey, who are on staff tonight, and of course the McLaughlin and Bromberg family for celebrating Kinley becoming a bat mitzvah and sponsoring tonight's Oneg, and to Jolie Brislem for giving announcements.
All right. I look out here. Is there anyone who is new to our community, maybe visiting for the first time, and they'd like to stand up and introduce themselves? We would love it. Amy Zoll. Oh, Amy, no, you got to stand up. You got to tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you living? Where are you from? We need better signage, I think. All right, and it's your first time in synagogue, right? So we welcome you. She's watched us, but the in-person is better.
Oh, now I recognize the name.
That's right. That's right. But we don't have the commercials you turn to on. All right, behind you. Go ahead. All right, do you live here in town? In Henderson? We're all coming over to your house. We need the address and all that. Good job, Nathan. We like him already. All right. All right, anyone else? That looks like it.
Okay,
All
sounds
right.
good. All right, so we're going to invite up, let's see, who are you inviting up? I don't see it. I think you have to invite them up. Who invited
Okay.
up for Kiddush?
All right, front row, come on up. Come on, here we go.
One thing to point out that I saw in our temple bulletin, I had no idea until I read it there, you should be reading the temple bulletin, is that if you are brand new to Las Vegas and you just want to check out Near to Mead for High Holidays, I believe you can call the office for special free tickets. So I saw that was a cool new thing we're offering. So if you're new, you want to come to High Holy Days, call the office on Tuesday. And God blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu hamotzi lechem
Now, this is usually a melody that we use at our Shabbat in the Round service, but I know it's Kinley's favorite, so I decided to put this on our service tonight as our closing song. Oh, say shalom. You're going to sing it? Okay, I'm going to turn your mic on. Oh, you want people to come up again? This is like a very communal bima tonight. All right.
Yeah.
Well, they can come up as we start. Here we go.
Okay. Oh, say shalom, v'im Roma. Oh, say shalom, v'im Roma. Uya ase shalom. Uya ase shalom. Uya ase shalom. Aleinu. 1, 2, 3, 4. May the one who makes peace bring peace down. Peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down. Peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down. Peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down. Bring peace down. Oh, say shalom. V'im Roma. Oh, say shalom. V'im Roma. Oh.
Good Shabbos, everyone. Enjoy the Oneg Shabbat. Please make sure to welcome our newcomers.
Also, this kept falling down.